could vegan work? You see, first let's clarify that vegan is working, has always worked for all herbivores. Koalas have always been able to feed themselves off of eucalyptus leaves. Cows and horses have always been able to feed themselves and to nurture their bodies throughout all of their lives just by eating grasses, raw, just as they are, just like the same of other herbivores with other type of plants. But it has never worked for humans. There is a short-term illusion. You see, you might feel content because you just ate a piece of this or that and you are happy in your tummy just right about the time you just ate, but later, just after 10, 20, 30 minutes, the digestion issues start coming up. Why? Because we do not have the mechanisms to do so. There is a reason why humans always cooked their foods, because we cannot properly digest them naturally. Cows and horses consume raw grass. I've never seen a vegan human try to consume raw grasses. They always go for hyper-cooked man-made vegetables that are nothing like we can find in nature, which is already a proof that we cannot take nature as itself, as it is, in terms of the plant kingdom. You see, vegan nutrition, meaning the nutrients, the proteins, the actual good things within plants, is only inside the fiber. And it is true that herbivores can use those proteins, those nutrients, because they ferment the fiber inside of them. They can break all of the components down into little pieces so that they can absorb those proteins and those nutrients. But we humans can't digest the fiber. It goes straight to our hay-hole. It bogs down our stools. So we have, for survival reasons, for scarcity of meat and fruits reasons, we have always fermented the fibers inside the kitchen. Historically, we peeled the rice, we grabbed all of these grains, which are actually seeds, and we ground them up into fine pieces, and then we fermented creating something like sourdough bread. We ferment pickles. We have historically always peeled and seeded all of these different foods within the plant kingdom, because naturally we can only digest well and absorb well low fiber fruits. And fruit is within the plant kingdom, but it's not the plant itself. It's the product of the plant, which it actually naturally drops when the seed is ready for being put on the ground. So the plant drops the fruit. In contrast with what herbivores eat, which is either the plant itself, the greens, raw as they are, bitter as they are, but they actually find them pleasurable, not us, or they eat something like little birds might eat seeds themselves, but they have the internal mechanisms to do so. And how do they know they have the internal mechanisms? They don't know. They just follow their instinct. You see, instinctively raw grasses are pleasurable, are attractive to these horses and cows, for example. Instinctively, these seeds are attractive to birds. Crows, for example, will grab these walnuts, they will go fly up and drop them until they hit the floor so they can go eat the walnut that is inside, which is an actual seed within that shell that was within a fruit. Humans, if anything, are adapted to eat low fiber fruits, but we just have to go by taste. You give a little apple, which is something extremely unnatural, to a kid, he enjoys it, it's sweet, he eats it. You give a raw broccoli to a kid, he doesn't enjoy it, you will spit it out immediately, you will do a horrible face. Only if you salt it and you season it very well and you cook it to death does the child enjoy the vegetable, not because of the vegetable itself, but because of the seasonings you put in it to cover the taste. If we were natural herbivores, we would naturally enjoy raw greens or raw seeds. We only naturally enjoy raw fruits and raw animal products, like meats, like eggs. We also enjoy honey, and we, just like bears, are willing to take a few stunts just to get that sweetness. Seasonally, more naturally within autumn, so to fatten up as to get some reserves for the typical scarcity of winter. It's a natural process, but that doesn't make us not carnivores. You see, bears are not omnivores, that doesn't exist, they are carnivores. They eat plenty of fish or flesh, and they even eat themselves, the same species, if they are really hungry and there is no other way. But seasonally they will eat fruit, and because they will eat fruit and honey doesn't mean they are not carnivores. Just means that it is that time of the year to fatten up. Felines, on the other hand, don't feel attracted to sweet fruits or honey, meaning they're what's called obligate carnivores. Bears and humans are facultative carnivores. But the problem arises when we as humans think we are not carnivores anymore and we can just survive off of fruit. Fruit for carnivores is a pleasure food, is a fattening food. If there are extra nutrients in the fiber, which is more typical in either the plant itself, the root, the stem, the bark, the leaves, the tubers, or the seeds itself, these we cannot take advantage of. And thus the only animals which can take advantage and thrive on vegan are herbivores. It's more likable, it's easier to accept that you are not enduring in taking lives of animals. But the thing is, as a vegan, which I was for quite a while, we actually tend to indirectly take down more lives than a carnivore human who only eats beef, for example. A carnivore who only eats beef might just take up 1 or 2 cows per year to get fed. A vegan not only takes the lives of plenty of plants, but also through agriculture, less natural uses of chemicals and whatnot, kills all of bugs, all of these little animals like rabbits and whatnot, through these completely unnatural ways of using the soil. And if you're eating organic, you're already using up a cattle byproduct. That's why it is not only not healthy and unsustainable for humans to live off of vegan. Sure, you can do it for a while, but then you get tired and more frail, and gradually over the years you feel less optimally. But it's also very hypocritical to do so if you're justifying it by ethics. There is absolutely no truth whatsoever when it comes to vegan being better for the planet, being leading to less deaths. Absolutely no truth whatsoever. You can research it very simply and find out the truth also simply. We are constantly being lied to about all of these things, that vegan is better for us, that we shouldn't consume butter, that we should instead put margarine, that we shouldn't rest, that we should instead exercise. And it is exactly because we have been listening to medical advice that we are losing more and more health. No wild animal which is healthy and happy is listening to any nutritional advice. They only have access to natural foods and they consume as wished. And if we limit our fridge and our pantry to only natural foods, and most fruits nowadays are not even natural, and all the vegetables that you have at home are most definitely not natural. If you season things up, you're already confusing the taste, covering up the natural taste. If you're cooking, the same. If you only grab things that are just the same way they are in nature and you put them in your kitchen, in your pantry and fridge, then you can trust your instinct, because then you only have to listen to your body and it will do what it is supposed to do. You see, something as simple as fruit, like you see an apple which fits in my hand. A natural apple looks like a berry. The other day, someone showed me a raw wild persimmon tree. You see, persimmon has these apple-sized fruits that are orange. Some people call it kaki. But the actual fruit, and I saw it with my own eyes, is the size of the tip of my finger. It's berry sized. You open it up, it's exactly the same, but it's berry sized. So if naturally you would eat a bunch of them, but it would add up to half one fruit, and it would have, even with all of those in the same volume, it would probably add up to very little sweetness. Now you eat 2 or 3 with also much more sweetness, then you cannot trust your instincts. You cannot trust your instincts after eating Reese's peanut butter cups. Of course you're gonna want to eat 30 of them in a row. Of course you're gonna want to eat 2 packs of potato chips in a row. They have been engineered to trigger your appetite. You see, in nature, the only thing that exists that trigger our appetite is our mother's milk. It has casomorphins, addictive compounds, to make us addictive to the milk. It opens our appetite. It has a combination of fat, actually, saturated fat with a bunch of cholesterol, proving it's super healthy for us, and a little bit of sugar, what we call the lactose. And the combination of fat and sugar opens up our appetite tremendously. That's why you can eat a bunch of cream, either in the form of liquid, in the form of butter, or in the form of just plain ice cream by itself, and it will not open your appetite. But once you add sugar, meaning most common ice cream, then you open your appetite a lot. That's why all these hyper Artificial, highly processed foods always use the combination of fat and sugar to open our appetite. In nature, that only exists naturally in milk. Which means that since it is unnatural to consume other animals' milk, meaning you would only consume dairy within your 2 first years of your life, around that, you would never more in your life experience that type of appetite opening in such an extreme way. Food itself, by spiking our insulin, just protein, just plain red meat, raw, will open your appetite, but in a more neutral way. Dairy ages us because it's meant to do so. You have a baby human which is born in this oh so small size, and we want to make sure it ages as quickly as possible, so that it becomes more robust and more survival proof. Thus, we need him to be with great appetite, to eat plenty, to be addicted to what he's eating, and to age quickly. Nature doesn't mess around, it knows what it is doing. And thus, vegan can work short term for humans by a form of illusion, just the same way I can stress myself, go to the most stressful job in the world for a week, and it might work within a week, but after a year, then I might say I cannot get this any longer. And the only way people are able to endure either stressful lives in terms of what they do, exercise, etc., or a stressful, non-nurturing diet is through stimulants. And I'm not talking about pills like speed. I'm not talking about any sort of injections. I'm talking about any simple thing as a coffee, a tea, some chocolate. All of these have one thing in common, even Coca-Cola, even iced tea. They all have caffeine in them. And caffeine adrenalizes your body. That's why we feel this rush of energy. It's not real energy. It's just a natural way for your body to give you a way of survival in an extreme situation, like running away from a predator or grabbing your child who is in danger. But if you do that day after day after day, every single day you drink 1, 2, 3 coffees, 1, 2, 3 coffees, 1, 2, 3 coffees, plenty of tea, plenty of chocolate, you're constantly adrenalizing your body. You're taking off this limit that would naturally be there to say, go rest. You cannot expect something natural like health and happiness to come from something so unnatural. If you enjoyed or learned or valued something within this video, please leave a like. If you want to check more videos just like this around body, I also post out some videos around family and others around home. Make sure you check out my channel, and if you are pleased with what you see, hit that subscribe button because more videos are always being posted. Thanks.